You can start the show.
EA. You know what? Can we make an exception just this one time? That's more like it. Well, another year, another EA press conference. It's about 90 minutes long, so here's 90 cents for wasting the time of every poor, unfortunate soul who had the displeasure of watching this exceptionally awful snooze fest.
So they invited me to come and host the show, and I think this year is going to be a lot of fun, you guys.
That would actually be true if EA knew the concept of fun.
Then we've got 2 new indie games to share.
Which, oddly enough, will be the highlight of the conference. You'd have a better chance finding more creativity in the bowels of Newgrounds.
You want to do this with me?
You know, you could have phrased that sentence better. Oh, thank goodness, one of the only franchises that EA has yet to tarnish and defile.
But there's also been lots and lots of questions from the community. And we've heard you want to see more gameplay innovations.
I bet if we accumulated all the times a developer lied about their game featuring innovation, it would equal the amount of money people spent on funding Star Citizen.
You will be able to dive and smash through windows to surprise your enemies.
Oh, what's next? We're going to be allowed to have shovels and frying pans as our melee weapons?
You will all go on an expanding journey through the Second World War. No loot boxes. No premium pass.
Listen, I haven't been smashed in the head nearly enough times to even entertain the idea of believing that. I'd sooner see a video game movie winning Best Picture at the Academy Awards.
After launch, you'll get something I know a lot of you have been asking for.
It's Royale.
If it ain't with cheese, then it ain't worth shit. Blah, 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 FIFA.
But what I can tell you right now is that the quality bar in gameplay was raised yet again this year.
But I will not actually show you gameplay to confirm my words. You know, when I included Andrew Wilson's bullshit sin counter years ago, I did so half-jokingly because of how much he reminded me of a James Bond villain. I didn't think he would actually turn into a James Bond villain. He's practically handing me the sins on a silver platter at this point.
To help our investment to extend our thinking and extend our pioneering into this cloud gaming world.
So we've been working with Lucas on getting the name and kind of the setting for what our Star Wars game is going to be.
Listen, Darth Disney has already desecrated this Star Wars property. We don't need you to further violate it while it's currently in a coma.
So does that mean I get to like hold a lightsaber?
Every single facepalm that I have ever watched on the internet is swirling through my head right now. Here's a game that was already released last year, much to the delight of every Star Wars fan across the globe.
So instead of coming out of the gate sprinting like we really wanted to, we had to take a step back and make sure that we were delivering the game that our players really wanted.
Newsflash, the players already have the game they wanted. It was released 13 years ago.
We're currently in our Han Solo season with content from the movie coming next week.
Right, because that's what everybody wanted. Character skins from Solo, the unnecessary prequel that nobody asked for, and that Disney only greenlit because they had to capitalize on a character that they carelessly killed off in The Force Awakens. Ah, EA Originals, the program that temporarily tricks you into thinking that EA cares about its developers. I honestly feel like I watch the same gameplay year after year to the point where I think my mind is stuck on replay. Esports tryhards. It's still an embarrassment that EA makes better looking championship belts than the WWE.
There you go. We're out here chasing money.
You know, some memes just write themselves.
I'm going to try to take this belt, round 2. So we're out.
Actual footage of how EA treats its players. Blah, blah, blah. Madden.
I'm Nathanius, professional shoutcaster.
Professional shoutcaster. Good to know that EA is continuing its streak of butchering and insulting a beloved franchise. Command & Conquer didn't just die, it was murdered. I think that deserves 50 cents on its own. Oh, I see. You're gonna wait until I actually have to suffer through this conference before we get to Andrew Wilson's bullshit sin counter. Gotta say, I'm kinda disappointed. I expected more sinister actions than that. But here you go nonetheless.
I'm blessed to be able to work with some of the most creative people on the planet, who come to work every day to create amazing entertainment. And what I can say about all of those teams, and what I can say about us, is that we are always trying to learn and listen and strive to be better. And so, as you look at the 10 experiences that you're going to see today, and as you play games this week, there's some things we hope come through. First, that at the very core is choice. Is that you as players get to choose how you play, what you play, when you play, and what devices you play on. That in making those choices, you feel you are treated fairly. That no one is given an unfair advantage or disadvantage for how they choose to play. That for every moment that you invest, we know that you put so much of your life into the games we make, and that for every moment that you invest, you feel like you are rewarded and you are given value for that investment. And most importantly, that the games are fun, that we move past the grind, and that these are experiences that truly enhance your lives. And so, as we think through all the things that we're trying to do, know that we want to be better, and that we want to make great games. And that as much as we love making games, and as much as you love playing them, there's something that is even greater that we can do together. The power of this community when we come together to do amazing things is profound. And to celebrate that, we contributed a total of $1 million to 3 charities that share our vision for a more inclusive world.
Wow, so you mean to tell me that out of the billions of dollars you assholes make yearly, you only gave $1 million to 3 different charities? Shit, I guess I should pat myself on the back every time I give $1 to a homeless veteran. It temporarily suppresses my sociopathic tendencies. Oh, gaming industry, why do you persist with this pre-rendered CGI nonsense? I honestly feel like I'm watching a David Blaine show when I'm contemplating why he's using the same tricks to convince people he's a good magician.
Because we're all BioWare fans.
Probably not a good idea to be speaking for everybody, especially those of us who have been facepalming at BioWare's descent into oblivion ever since Mass Effect 3.
And that's kind of where it started with Anthem, is just thinking about, you know, what is the evolution of a BioWare game?
An always online, multiplayer-focused live service filled with shitty loot boxes, microtransactions, premium passes, and a poor excuse for a single-player campaign. You know, the usual shit you'll find these days in a AAA game. These fools actually repeat the same uninspiring footage that they just used.
And we're also designing it so that we can add story for years to come.
And that right there is the biggest red flag to let you know this game is going to be a complete pile of shit. Didn't God of War just teach everyone to make a complete quality product first and then you can worry about expansions and sequels? Oh wait, I almost forgot this is an industry that falls on deaf ears on a regular basis.
One of the first things that we hear when from our community is they want to continue to play in our worlds. When they've finished Mass Effect or Dragon Age, players want more story. And so we've designed Anthem in a way that we can actually add more story for years to come, and it could be anything.
You know, ever since people saw the first trailer of this game, they called it a Destiny clone. And now the wall-eyed buffoons are actually confirming that to be the case.
I've got you in my sights.
Justice reigns from above.
Keep my eyes closed. Keep them coming.
We are going to have some cosmetics and vanity items that you'll be able to purchase, but you're always going to know what you're going to buy before you spend any money on it. So no loot boxes, no ability to pay for power.
Just using this as a reference for when they eventually go back on their word and they implement loot boxes and the ability to pay for power. You know, throughout this entire presentation, I was only thinking to myself 2 questions. 1, are there going to be fuel stations for the jetpacks? And 2, why aren't there different environments to keep things interesting? And when you get to that point, I think you've severely failed to capture interest. Microsoft. Before anybody gets excited about this, just remember that 343 is still developing it, which means it's almost guaranteed to be lackluster.
We're now at a moment of exceptional creativity in gaming. We can't wait to show you what creativity unleashed looks like for you.
And for 90% of the following conference, we'll show shooters and racing games. You know, the pinnacle of creativity.
18 titles with exclusivity.
Notice how he doesn't say Xbox exclusives, which I would think would be the perfect opportunity to rebuild the Xbox brand. Oh, more footage of the Ori sequel. No sins here. Man, if Activision wasn't attached to this game, I would totally be on board with it. Closest thing to Tenchu we're gonna get.
Yes, Fallout 76 is a prequel to all the other games.
That's strange, since the war didn't begin until 2077. A pre-war Fallout game ceases to be a Fallout game. Kind of goes against the name of the series.
It is 4 times the size of Fallout 4.
Yep, cause bigger has always meant better, right? I guess that vampire game was as shitty as I thought it was going to be if Donut is going back to the well with anything Life is Strange related. 4th year, ladies and gentlemen. 4th frickin' year this game has been showcased at E3. It's like a first round draft pick that you keep hyping up for years and then never transfer over to the main roster. Look at this year-plus old game that is just now getting Xbox One enhanced, even though it was perfectly fine in the state it was originally released in. The biggest sin here is the negligible amount of Wreck-It Ralph. I mean, mean, it's an animated film based in a video game world. How do you not make that a top priority?
Look out!
The hell happened to the sound effects? Wait, Sea of Z's is still a thing? Look at all this content that we should have shipped with the game on release day, but arbitrarily removed because we want to give you the illusion that we're actually expanding your fun. Demonstrating a game that was already shown in a previous conference, with far less gameplay footage. Man, I'm just drowning in this creativity of racing games.
Forza Horizon 4's Britain is a shared open world.
You know, one of these days, probably sooner rather than later, I'm going to be able to count on one hand the amount of AAA games that aren't a shared experience. And on that day, I will roll my eyes with disgust. And then chuckle knowing that I'll have plenty of money to save.
Driving at speeds made even more thrilling on Xbox One X by the brand new 60 FPS mode.
Are they really still promoting 60 frames per second as a selling point when that should be the standard nowadays?
My team and I take our commitment to you seriously. To make Xbox One the best place for you to play and for you to have the best games on the world's most powerful console. I'm proud to introduce the creation of a brand new Microsoft studio.
Here's another studio that we will open up, and then eventually close down due to creative differences. Gearbox is publishing We Happy Few, thus eliminating any interest I had in it.
It's terrible!
Censorship. PUBG is never this fun. If it was, it wouldn't be getting its ass kicked by Fortnite.
World premiere.
Since when is it a world premiere for a game that originally released in 2008? Definitive edition or not?
Duke, Kit, did you guys hear that? Yeah. Closer this time.
Scripted commentary.
We leveraged the machine learning expertise we have at Microsoft.
Machine learning. Translation, we are one step closer to submitting to our AI overlords. Our ultimate goal of self-destruction is nearing its final stage. Well, look at that. An actual creative-looking game being relegated to a montage. Oh, thank goodness we finally got some gameplay footage of Shadow of the Tomb Raider, but why the hell is Square Enix still using this marketing ploy? Lara's been becoming the Tomb Raider for the past 2 fucking games. When is she gonna become a big girl and actually get some character development? Sorry guys, but those Tony Hawk skate type games, they're dead. They are comfortably sharing a closet with Guitar Hero. Well, it's about freaking time. I only waited 10 years to get a proper sequel to Devil May Cry 4, and to my satisfaction, it doesn't look like there's gonna be too many dramatic changes. This is to my liking, but as usual, I will manage my expectations. Wow, Microsoft, actually keeping up with quality. For once, you're actually making this difficult for me. Meh, give me a Cowboy Bebop or Black Lagoon game and then we can talk.
Dying Light 2 will be the first in its genre where your choices have genuine consequences in the game itself. From how it looks, how it plays, to the events that occur, everything in the game world can change based on your decisions.
Just Cause 4 looks exactly like Just Cause 3. Are you sure I'm not going to be playing an expansion? Ah, I see that companies are still advocating for digital pre-orders. That level of retardation never gets old. I think Wooly's reaction pretty much describes how I felt about this.
Yeah! I was about to say, I don't know what you have to do to get me excited about Gears anymore, but they fucking found it.
Top off the atrocity with a Wilhelm scream.
And every one of these plays best on Xbox.
Completely disregards the fact that millions of people out there own a PC, a PS4, and or a Switch.
Where the increasing number of gamers is met with the increasing creative power of game developers.
Ah, so that's why Battle Royales, first-person shooters, and sports games are still dominating the market. Finally, the game that I have been championing for years now, long before Witcher 3 hype, gets a new trailer. And brother, it is as glorious as I had pictured it in my head. You have no idea how rare it is that a game looks exactly how I imagined it was going to be. Legit one of the only games I am actually excited for. But just like with Devil May Cry 5, my expectations will be managed. But if the game miraculously turns out to be shit, you can come back and use this video as a reference and call me out for being the dumbass that I am. Bethesda.
The past year has been an exciting one for Bethesda as we released some of the best games of 2017. Games like Prey, Dishonored: Death of the Outsider, The Evil Within 2, Wolfenstein 2.
Only 2 of those games were any good, and even one of them is debatable.
We even released exciting updates for The Elder Scrolls Online,
AKA the biggest wasted opportunity for an MMORPG in gaming history.
We were thrilled when Metacritic named us the top publisher in the industry.
Using Metacritic as a legitimate source for anything. One of the most genuine, exciting moments in the entirety of E3, and yet I still see a severe lack of headbanging in the audience.
And as we're about to show you, they delivered big time.
Puns, quibs, jokes, hurrah! But on a serious note, id Software's shooting pedigree mixed with Avalanche Studios' excellent open world design on the Rage property? Count me the hell in.
For the past year, we have taken what I think is the best digital card game and made it even better.
Is completely oblivious to the fact that Gwent and Hearthstone exist. Overconfidence is a flimsy shield.
I'm really humbled to say that the Elder Scrolls Online community just keeps getting bigger. We're over 11 million players now.
Yeah, and only about 1 million of those are actually active. Quit your exaggeration.
But I gotta tell you guys, we can't stop, won't stop until we've delivered a game that's fun for everyone.
This guy clearly never heard the phrase, when you try to please everyone, you end up pleasing no one.
Check out our new trailer for Quake Champions.
Releasing a new trailer for a game that's been playable for over a year now.
The next time you fire up Prey, you're gonna see 3 new modes. Story mode.
Wait, it didn't already launch with the story mode? Also, wasting significant time at E3 presenting a DLC.
We're not done yet. We have one more surprise coming later this summer called Typhon Hunter.
It's no longer a surprise if you already said what it is. Playing a Wolfenstein game without Blazko. Might as well be playing a Doom game without Doom Guy.
He is the recipient of numerous Lifetime Achievement and Hall of Fame awards. He's the game director at a studio that has won a bevy of accolades and awards.
Awards and accolades are nothing more than glorified suck-off simulators. Just look at Jeff Keighley.
But we know that most of you came here for one thing. I think it's to see where we're putting Skyrim next.
Well, I hear that the N-Gage, Ouya, and PS Vita are still available, demonstrating a game that you should have saved for this conference.
Because yes, Fallout 76 is entirely online.
You know, I gotta give it to Todd Howard. That's gotta be a new record for quickest time I've completely lost interest in a video game.
So we thought, why don't we put multiple nuclear missile sites on the map, and then let all of you do whatever you want with them.
Translation: this is our battle royale, this is our opportunity to cash in on popular trends, and our way of distancing ourselves from any legitimate problems you might have had with Fallout 4.
I read on the internet that our games have had a few bugs. I did. I read it on the internet, so it's true.
Using sarcasm to shield yourself from a legitimate problem with your games. Elder Scrolls Mobile deserves at least 20 cents for making me want to take an arrow to the head. Look, it's that game that's been rumored for ages and was going to be revealed at last year's E3. Let me tell you guys something right now. If this game is not subtitled either Hammerfell or elsewhere, skip. Just hard skip. It proves Bethesda does not have their heads in the right places. That is all. Wasn't aware I was watching a Halloween version of So You Think You Can Dance. Also, it goes on for far too long. Another non-gameplay trailer for Beyond Good and Evil 2. Also, it looks like the game is going to try to pull that lousy tactic where they portray the series protagonist as the villain, which becomes even more confusing when you consider this game is supposed to be a prequel.
Now, let's take a look at our first pre-alpha gameplay footage.
Ubisoft shamelessly misinforming the public as to what a pre-alpha is. Pre-alpha is the equivalent of concept art with basic animations, which is clearly not this. Using JGL as a cheap way to temporarily warm my heart and distract me from issuing any sort of criticism. Humility. You ain't gonna see that very often at E3, so enjoy it while it lasts. Could have sworn I was watching an E3 press conference, not a no-clip documentary about the journey of esports players. Prince of Persia in a nutshell.
On Black Friday, a strain of the smallpox virus was released on dollar bills in New York City.
Yeah, too bad you never had a story to complement it. And judging by what I'm seeing, this new one's not going to be any different.
We will be launching 3 DLCs in the form of episodes.
Yep, this is where we're at, ladies and gentlemen. Motherfuckers announcing DLC at E3 long before the game even releases. Gaming community and industry at large, you have all utterly failed by allowing this to exist. Where's the Game of Thrones shame lady when I need her?
Shame. Shame. Shame.
All of these episodes will be completely free for everyone.
Leaving this sin here for when they eventually go back on their word.
You're gonna steal every last fucking coin.
That was some awkward forced swearing if I ever heard it.
This is the Micro Machine Man presenting the most midget miniature motorcade of Micro Machines.
You play. The Crew 2, skip. Oh, Assassin's Creed, the series that has mutated worse than a husk from Mass Effect. Granted, I'm still looking forward to it just to see what kind of a clown show it's going to be, but for crying out loud, just drop the name and create a new IP.
This is where your adventure begins. You, a simple mercenary.
Precisely my point. You're playing as a mercenary and not an assassin. You're basically using the title of the game to get away with a technicality.
Our choices are like ripples on water. They seem tiny and insignificant at the beginning, but they can become devastating tidal waves by the time they run their course.
A lesson the gaming industry never took to heart. Thus the reason why my channel exists. The entirety of Square Enix's press conference says they didn't show anything of significance that wasn't already shown in a previous conference. Sony.
Again, thank you. And as you can see from this evening, here again at PlayStation, we've decided to mix it up a little bit in the way that we're doing our E3 presentation this year.
Translation: we're ahead in this console generation, so we're allowed to act like the supercilious cunts that we always knew we were. Alert! Pretentiousness is reaching critical levels. Let the eye-rolling protocol commence. All I'm gonna say about The Last of Us 2 is that judging by this gameplay trailer, I'm gonna have plenty of material to work with when it finally releases. So, yay?
We're taking a quick intermission while folks move along to the next part of the experience.
Wait, so Sony set up that church location dedicated to only one game? The pompousness has gone nuclear. Man, and here I was thinking we'd make it throughout all of E3 without the HIV of the gaming industry. Homeboy's expression is on point. I gotta admit, Sony, your dedication to disappointment and lowering the bar is almost commendable. Man, Sony is on a roll, inventing their own new tropes at their press conferences. Well then, looks like one modern game finally learned how to do precise combat correctly. Ah, so Quantum Break was just the tech demo for the real game. The long-awaited sequel to PsyOps, the Mindgate Conspiracy. You hear that reaction, everyone? That is the sound of genuine excitement from longtime Resident Evil fans. We never left. Now, if you'll just give those of us who prefer it the option to play with fixed camera angles, then Capcom's gonna have another masterpiece on their hands that rivals and probably will surpass the RE1 remake. Claire, what the fuck did they do to you?
From Squanch Games and the co-creator of Rick and Morty.
Well, that sounds like a desperate attempt to gain support from edgy meme kids. Wait a minute. There seems to be a spelling error here. Hold on a moment. Let me fix this. Okay. Scratch that. Put it there. Okay, place that there. So they're right there. Get this. Ah, perfect. You know, when the first gameplay released for this, people compared it to the Batman Arkham games. I didn't think that Insomniac would actually implement the plot from Arkham Asylum. Ooh, I'm gonna have fun sending this game. Let me just quickly summarize about everything Nintendo got wrong this year. No update on Metroid Prime 4, no update on Bayonetta 3, no announcement of a new F-Zero, Waluigi is not in Smash, Lyn was reduced to an assist character.